यार वो टेक्स्ट तो नहीं है, मगर बेसिकली एक लेडी है वो
Hello, Mr. Vice President. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to talk here today. I did not agree with many of the things that you said right ahead of this, but I don't think that's my point to discuss here. What I want to ask is, you are married to a woman who is not Christian. In her Wikipedia, I mean, I just looked that up. I wanted to know what her faith was. I didn't know this before. But she still calls herself Hindu. You are raising two kids, three kids.
So basically, she says that your wife still calls herself a Hindu. Now, you guys told her कि हम यहाँ आए, हम ये करें, वो करें. It was a long-winded question.
Yeah.
To which should I play his answer? Because that's what matters, right?
You can play Vance's answer. Huh?
Yeah. So Vance का आंसर मैं बजाता हूँ. एक मिनट, वो इधर है.
And yes, my wife did not grow up. And
yes,
yes, my wife did not grow up Christian. I think it's fair to say that she grew up.
हाँ, तो उसका बजाते हैं पूरे आंसर. I think उसका आंसर मैटर करता है, वो क्वेश्चन से ज्यादा.
And yes, my wife did not grow up Christian. I think it's fair to say that she grew up in a Hindu family, but not a particularly religious family in either direction. In fact, when I met my wife, we were both, I would consider myself an agnostic or an atheist, and that's what I think she would have considered herself as well. You know, everybody has to come to their own arrangement here. The way that we've come to our arrangement is she's my best friend. We talk to each other about this stuff. So we've decided to raise our kids Christian. Our two oldest kids who go to school, they go to a Christian school. Our 8-year-old did his first communion about a year ago. That's the way that we have come to our arrangement. But, thank you. My 8-year-old was also very proud of his first communion. Thank you, guys. I'll tell him that Old Miss wishes him the best. But I think everybody has to have this own conversation when you're in a marriage. I mean, it's true for friends of mine who are in Protestant and Catholic marriages, friends of mine who are in, atheist and Christian marriages. You just got to talk to the only advice I can give is you just got to talk to the person that God has put you with, and you've got to make those decisions as a family unit. For us, it works out. Now, most Sundays, Usha will come with me to church. As I've told her, and I've said publicly, and I'll say now in front of 10,000 of my closest friends, do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way. But if she doesn't, then God says everybody has free will, and so that doesn't cause a problem for me. That's something you work out with your friends, with your family, with the person that you love. Again, one of the most important Christian principles is that you respect free will. Usha's closer to the priests who baptized me than maybe I am. They talk about this stuff. My attitude is you figure this stuff out as a family, and you trust in God to have a plan, and you try to follow it as best as you can, and that's what I try to do.
So ये उसने बेसिकली जवाब दिया, मगर एक मेरे को क्लिप और एक बजानी है क्योंकि निर्मल्या ने बहुत अच्छा काम किया है for a change.
Tell me about y'all's faith.
I had never been.
So ये उसने before the election बकबक की थी.
This is when he was just selected as the VP candidate.
तो ये play करता हूँ.
Tell me about y'all's faith.
I had never been baptized. Even though I was raised Christian, I'd never been baptized. So I was baptized the first time in 2018, I think. It's funny, Usha was not raised Christian, is actually not Christian.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I remember when I started to re-engage with my own faith, Usha was very supportive.
Usha, why were you so supportive?
There are a few different reasons. One is that I did grow up in a religious household. My parents are Hindu, and that was one of the things that made them such good parents, that make them really very good people. And so I think I've seen the power of that in my own life. And I knew that JD was searching for something. This just felt right for him.
How do y'all merge two different faiths while still raising your children?
There are a lot of things that we just agree on, I think, especially when it comes to family life, how to raise our kids. And so I think the answer really is we just...
Yeah, honestly, now first you explain. Wow, so the summary that I'm hearing is that he threw her under the bus.
On the whole, I would agree with that. I think on the whole, I'd agree with that. I think the way she has been attacked, and it's not just in this particular instance, but usko pehle bhi social media pe iske supporters group se and jo people like Nick Fuentes jaise log hain, unhone they have already attacked her plenty of times.
Fuentes says, I think allegedly said he's married a Jeet or something.
Yeah, so plenty of times she's been attacked, and usko kabhi bhi ye samne se aake defend nahi karta. And somebody said that recently ki bhai, if a man can't stand up for his wife, can't defend his wife, then what is the point of anything really? And I kind of I have to agree with it. And ek time pe,
this is the same guy.
Yeah, ek time pe inhone bola tha ke are we're both very religious people, hum log dono bahut religious hain. I'm a devout Christian. She's also her religion is also something ki kaise informed her values. Her religion has informed her values, and that's why she's a very good person, because she's a religious person. Aur abhi ye bol raha hai ki no, my wife is agnostic, which is horseshit, because that's not what they used to say before.
So even if she is agnostic, she's still Hindu.
She's still Hindu. But I'm just saying कि एक तो वहां पर चेंज हो गया, और दूसरी बात कि आप 5000 क्लैरिफिकेशन क्यों दे रहे हो? जब आपकी वाइफ को कोई अटैक कर रहा है, आप 1000 क्लैरिफिकेशन क्यों दे रहे हो? आप सीधे सीधे बोलो ना कि I'm not going to stand for these attacks against my wife. You don't attack my family. You attack my family, I'll come after you. Everybody, even people who hate you will defend you. Even people who don't like your wife will defend you, because it is a very visceral reaction जब आपके family को कोई attack करता है, and then you stand up for your family. Everybody would respect that. I honestly believe कि अगर आप Trump is a sleazy person, nobody's going to deny that. He's one of the sleaziest people in the world. Nobody's going to deny that. But मेरे को लगता है कि even if you ever attacked Melania, Trump's not just going to take it. If somebody calls Melania a name, he's just not going to be like, ha, look at that. Very funny, so funny, tumne Melania ko kya bol diya. He's going to give it right back to you. And nobody is going to respect somebody कि आपकी wife को किसी ने गाली दे दी, attack दे दी, and you're just like, ha, वो तो है ही. You look at there's a perfect example already. This is not the first person who's done this. There's a perfect example, Ted Cruz. Do you remember Ted Cruz's, what happened with him? In the 2016 election cycle, Ted Cruz was a candidate along with Donald Trump. And they were in the primaries, and Ted Cruz and Donald Trump were having a debate, and Ted Cruz called his wife like all sorts of names. She said, oh, your wife is ugly, your wife is this, your wife is that. And उसके बाद टेड क्रूज आया बहुत चौड़ा हो गया, छाती चौड़ा करके कि ए आदमी की बीवी को कुछ नहीं बोलने का, हमारी बीवी को कुछ नहीं बोलने का, मैं गांड तोड़ दूंगा हमारी बीवी को कुछ बोलेगा तो. और उसके बाद 2 दिन के बाद, so he comes out and says that I'm a Texan, don't say anything about a Texan's wife, we will show you what Texas is. 2 दिन के बाद this guy was making phone calls for Donald Trump after 2 days. 2 दिन में खत्म, Texas खत्म, गोटे खत्म, सब कुछ खत्म. And since then Ted Cruz has been turned into a meme. The only people that take Ted Cruz seriously are 70-year-old boomers from Texas, and that's it. Uska career Texas mein hi reh gaya. He'll never go out of Texas, because the whole world saw that his wife got attacked, and 2 days later he pussied out and was making phone calls for Donald Trump. So eventually, I think somebody comes after your family, you stand up for your family, that's a very visceral reaction. And I think people are going to see that. I think people will see that. And this has been a trend, unfortunately, with J.D. Vance as well. Initially, he was a never Trumper. Right? He said, I will never vote for Donald Trump. I'll never work with Donald Trump. That is not the kind of person that should be leading this country. Then he becomes VP candidate. Suddenly, Donald Trump is the best person in the world. On every single belief he held, slowly, he's compromised on it in many different ways. And I think, ultimately people are going to see through it. And even if maybe he's doing this because he wants to be like, he's paving the way for a presidential run. I just think कि Trump administration की जो stink है वो इस पे इतनी जोर से लगी हुई है कि he will not be able to wash it off no matter how much he kowtows to the MAGA base. The MAGA base is always going to hate him until he leaves his wife. So, it's as simple as that. So
this is what he quote tweeted. Ezra Levant ने तो अपना tweet delete कर दिया.
And remember, delete कर दिया. Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. So he says, what a disgusting comment, and it's hardly been. Basically, Levant ने बोला था तूने अपनी बीवी को.
Yeah, you threw your wife under the bus.
Under the bus.
Yeah.
What a disgusting comment, and it's hardly been the only one along these lines. First off, the question was from a person seemingly to my left about my interfaith marriage. I'm a public figure and people are curious, and I wasn't going to avoid the question. Second, my Christian faith tells me the gospel is true and is good for human beings. My wife, as I said at the Turning Point USA, is the most amazing blessing I have in my life. She herself encouraged me to re-engage with my faith many years ago. She's not a Christian and has no plans to convert, but like many in an interfaith marriage or any interfaith relationship, I hope she may one day see things as I do. Regardless, I'll continue to love and support her and talk to her about faith and life and everything else because she's my wife. Third, posts like these reek of anti-Christian bigotry. Yes, Christians have beliefs, and yes, those beliefs have many consequences, one of which is that we want to share them with other people. That is a completely normal thing, and anyone who's telling you otherwise has an agenda. So this is
how Joe Ezra Levant ne bola. What was anti-Christian in that?
I don't know. There was no, I don't know. There was nothing anti-Christian in it, but here is how I look at it. Fundamentally, there is this problem that Abrahamic religions are very exclusivist.
Right.
I'm not saying this is a bad thing or a good thing. They are exclusivist, and proselytization is a by default intrinsic requirement of the Christian faith and the Muslim faith in Dawa. Not in the Jewish faith anymore. Jews में तो convert होना बहुत मुश्किल है. वो लोग ने तो ऐसा कर दिया जैसे बॉम्बे का ऑटर्स क्लब है. इंटरव्यू दे रहे पहले तो क्या हो गया, तेरे पास 2 करोड़ रुपया, इंटरव्यू दे, फिर सोचूंगा तेरे को मेंबर बनाना कि नहीं बनाना.
Trump wishes he could build a wall like Judas.
Yeah, so that's there. So Hinduism also is I would not say Hindus will not convert you, but it is a non-aggressive religion where if you want to join it, you are free to, but nobody's going out there to increase their numbers either.
Simple si baat hai, Hindus would have happily accepted Jesus as long as there was a stipulation कि आपको अपने भगवान छोड़ने की जरूरत नहीं है. If the Christians have said कि आपको अपने भगवान की छोड़ने की जरूरत नहीं है, but also love Jesus, हम बोलेंगे ठीक है, no problem.
Yeah, so at the fundamental core, Hinduism says everything is divine, which is why I hate it when Hindus across the world say, oh, Hinduism is monotheistic. No sir, it is not. Hinduism is not monotheistic. Hinduism ka ek branch monistic hai, where everything is divine, and that also is very different from, let's say, Christian faith, which says the creator and creation are two distinct entities.
Yeah.
So, and it's fine. Listen, all of us, like, I am a very open materialist. I don't believe, in divinity. And my wife, has actual belief that there is something like afterlife. So I understand you have differing points of view. But the Hindu mind is very different, where I'm not going to try to convert my wife to atheism, and my wife's not trying to convert me, because both of us are from a Hindu framework.
From the Hindu fold.
Yeah, but in a Christian fold, this is not the case, right? They are going to convert you. And what? So I'm trying to steelman JD Vance's point.
And legitimately, I feel like somebody quote tweeted, I can't remember what that tweet was, but somebody tweeted it and said ki it's not as benign as JD Vance is making it out to be. That's just how the religion is. It's not as benign as he's making it out to be. Ki, Arey, I just think I want to share the good news with my wife. That's all. Ultimately, they said ki JD Vance also believes that, if he's following the belief to the letter, then he also believes that his wife is going to burn in hell forever. Right? If he believes it to the letter, if he believes it literally, that is what he also believes, that she's going to burn in hell forever. He also believes that she's following a demonic false religion.
Yeah.
That she's literally worshipping Satan.
Yeah.
And demons. This is his belief, right? So it's not as benign as he's making it out to be. Let's also make that very clear.
So yeah, I think it's a complex thing. I believe politicians say things for votes. JD Vance is JD Vance's history is very interesting. And people who know him, I happen to know some people who know him and me. He's an interesting character, to say the least. And he's a very open-minded guy. But listen, you're a politician. And I think this entire episode is more of a commentary on the MAGA base. than on
That's true.
JD Vance, in my opinion. I am not here to defend JD Vance, and nor am I
but
giving
you're
any
right. But
apology.
you're right. It shows where the current MAGA movement is today. That's what it's symptomatic of.
Hmm.
That the vice president of the United States, ostensibly the second most powerful guy in the country, has to basically bow down to the most radical element of this base and agree with the most radical element of this base. There was this abhi a few weeks ago, I don't know how many people remember this, but a few weeks ago there was some group chat that leaked of this young Republican group. Do you remember this?
Yes.
So this group chat leaked of this young Republican group, and this is multiple Republican groups across multiple states. And by the way, young Republicans, ये साला false advertising है, because young Republicans apparently refers to 18 to 40. तो 40 साल के लोग भी यंग रिपब्लिकन हो सकते हैं.
अच्छा, ये मतलब
So
ये
अभी
राहुल
मेरे पास
गांधी,
काफी टाइम है.
ये राहुल गांधी वाले युवा नेता है.
ये राहुल गांधी वाले यूथ कांग्रेस वाले लोग हैं.
अच्छा,
तो जिस तरह राहुल गांधी अभी यूथ है, इसी तरह से ये यंग रिपब्लिकन वाले भी यंग रिपब्लिकन्स हैं.
कौमे
तो
यूथ.
their chat leaked, and they just had all kinds of horrible stuff. They were calling black people watermelon people, gas the Jews, put them in concentration camps and things like that. Horrible things. You can never trust the Jews, and all these kinds of horrible things. And again, these are not 15-year-old children. A lot of these people are 25, 26, 30, 35, 37, 39, 40. So a 40-year-old saying gas the Jews. And JD Vance goes out, and he's asked, and he has to go out, and he ultimately, rather than really condemning it, he's saying ये तो बच्चे हैं, मजाक कर रहे हैं. बच्चे हैं.
अच्छा, JD Vance channelized his inner Mulayam Singh Yadav.
Exactly.
बच्चे हैं, गलती, लड़के हैं, गलती हो जाती है.
गलती हो जाती है. तो भैया, if your political spiritual mentor is Mulayam Singh Yadav, you're doing something wrong in your life, is what I think. So I think the fact that the leadership of the MAGA movement has completely and utterly bent the knee to the worst elements of the MAGA movement. And you're seeing that reflect in now polls as well. If you look at 2024, when he got inaugurated, he was riding very high in the polls. You look at every single poll, even the conservative polls. Sab mein his popularity is at like record lows. Record numbers is his popularity giri hai in just a 9-month period. So you can see that like itna zyada ye radical ho gaya hai, itna zyada the base has been radicalized, itna zyada the leadership has caught out to the base ki it's going to create. What I'm worried about is that ki dekho, Trump is so unpopular at this point कि it's almost a foregone conclusion unless something absolutely insane happens from the Democrats, like Mamdani comes and burns New York to the ground. Unless something like that happens, which is possible, but unless something like that happens, the Republicans are going to get slaughtered in 2026. It's very likely they're going to get slaughtered in 2026, and it's very likely that they're going to get slaughtered in 2028 in the general elections as well, federal elections as well. And if that happens, one of the worries that I have is because the pendulum has shifted so strongly on this one side that it shifts very strongly to the other side as well. And then my other worry is that then for the next 10-15 years, we're just stuck in this extreme swing of the pendulum. Tab, there's a lot of cause to worry. If you're just going from extreme right to extreme left to extreme right to extreme left, that is something I feel to worry about.